Winter in the Northeast doesn't test you, it tests your house. Winter exposes house problems fast. Bad layouts, poor insulation, weak heating systems. If you're buying a home anywhere in the Northeast, Boston, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, winter is part of the deal.
Lashing the Northeast with layers of heavy snow and ice. In western New York, snow stacking up on roads, blinding snow falling on Interstate 684 through Bedford, driving treacherous.
Let's start with the part of the house winter hits first, the entryway. Because if this goes wrong, the rest of the house never recovers. The entryway is the winter command center. Every snowstorm, everyone comes in wet. Boots, coats, gloves, backpacks. If there's nowhere for that chaos to land, winter takes over your entire house. You see coats and boots all over. What to look for in a mudroom is tile, stone, or waterproof flooring, a bench for taking your boots on and off, hooks at adult and kid height, and space for multiple people at once. Homes without this don't feel charming in the winter. They feel stressful. In a few minutes, I'll tell you how to make a house without a mudroom still work. But first, we need to talk about parking, because this is where winter breaks people. A garage in the Northeast isn't about luxury, it's about sanity. Let me give you a real winter scenario. It's the night before a workday. There's a snowstorm coming and the town declares a snow emergency. You're not panicking yet. Then you wake up at 6 in the morning. It's still dark. The snow's heavier than you expected and you've got to be at work early. Now you're outside digging your car out in the dark while the wind's blowing snow right back into the space you just cleared. And if you got street parking, you're also doing the mental math. Can I even leave the car here without getting towed? And if I dig my car out and leave, will I be able to find a parking spot when I return? Having a designated parking spot or a garage becomes super important for your sanity. I watched buyers shrug this off during a showing in July and then come back in February saying, oh my goodness, I didn't realize how important this is. And here's the part people don't connect yet. Parking and garages don't just affect convenience. They affect how you feel about the home every single winter morning. In my first house, I had a driveway, didn't have a garage. We had a snow plowing company clearing the driveway in the morning when it snowed. But we're still clearing the snow off the cars. Majority of the time, it was completely fine. We just planned to leave the house 20 minutes earlier. Completely fine. Now we have a garage. And every time it snows, I realize how much my quality of life has improved. I'm so happy I don't have to deal with clearing the snow and turning my car on for 20 minutes before I can even leave the driveway. By the way, schools don't automatically close when you get snow unless it's so much that it can't be cleared because before the school starts. Now, attached garage is ideal. Detached garage is still great. Even a carport is a huge help and speeds up your exit in the morning. Off-street parking at a minimum. Storage space for shovels, salt, and snowblower, you need that. Okay, next I want to talk about heating because that's where winter stops being annoying and starts getting expensive. Not all heat feels the same. You should ask these questions. What kind of heat? What is the fuel type? How old is the system? How fast does the house warm up? Are there any unheated or cold rooms? What are average winter utility bills? Very important because you don't want to be surprised when the winter comes. In the Northeast, the most common heating systems are baseboard hydronic heat, even quiet, very common in older homes. Forced hot air, heats fast, great with good insulation. Heat pumps, excellent in newer or renovated homes if done right. The biggest red flag isn't the system, it's uneven heat. Cold bedrooms in winter are usually a sign of deeper issues. When buyers ask me about heating systems, they usually want to know which one is best. And the honest answer is, it depends on the house and the town. In a lot of older Northeast homes, you'll see baseboard or hydronic heat. That's the system where hot water runs through pipes like you see radiators or baseboards. It's quiet, it's consistent, and when it's set up properly, the house just feels evenly warm. No blasts of air, no temperature swings. That's why so many older homes still use it, because it works. Sometimes some radiators don't work, but that's another story. Then there is forced hot air. This is the system most people are familiar with because that's usually used all over US. Warm air blowing through vents. The upside is speed. When it's cold, when you turn it on, it heats up very fast. But here's the catch. The forced air only feels good if the house is insulated well. In a drafty house, that warm air comes fast and disappears fast and ends up with hot and cold spots. Heat pumps are something I'm seeing more and more, especially in newer construction and renovated homes that's electrical. When they're designed properly, they're incredibly efficient and comfortable. But when they're not, that's when people complain about cold rooms in the dead winter when temperature drops below zero. And this is the part buyers miss. The biggest red flag usually isn't the type of system, it's uneven heat. If you walk through a house in the winter and one bedroom is noticeably colder than the rest, that's usually a sign of something else. It could be insulation, it could be ductwork, it could be windows or air leaks. But whatever it is, winter will find it. A small room that has one large vent and it gets super hot, or a large room with one small vent and it always feels cold. And no matter how much insulation you pump into walls and ceilings, it doesn't change anything. Have you had that situation happen to you when it's the ductwork that's the problem? That's why I always tell buyers, don't just ask what kind of heat a house has, ask how the house feels in January. And next, I want to show you how to spot insulation and window problems during a showing. When I'm looking through a house, I take a little pause next to windows. If it's in the winter, you can feel the cold coming through. And insulation is not always visible. So if you are going into the attic, you can see the insulation, but sometimes you cannot see it because they are behind the walls, and anything that is not seen, you cannot do anything about it. You have to look at the bills. If the heating bills are high, you can probably see that the insulation is missing or something. The same houses, exactly same houses that look exactly the same in July can look completely different in January because of how much heating they get. When I'm in a house during the colder months, I always slow down at windows. I'll just stand there for a second, not even touching anything, and see if I can feel cold coming off the glass. And if you're feeling that cold radiating toward you, that's heat leaving the house. And over time, that's what drives up heating bills and makes rooms uncomfortable. Another thing I notice right away is condensation inside the windows. A little condensation is okay, but if you see there is like clouding condensation between the window panes, it usually means the insulation or the window themselves aren't doing their job. Probably needs to be replaced. Ask about the windows. Are they newer? Are they double pane? Have they been replaced at some point? Then I'll usually glance at the attic access or ask if the sellers have ever done an energy audit. In the Northeast, many homeowners have had insulation work done over the years, and that can make a huge difference in how the house feels in the winter. Mess Safe was helping that a lot to get that done efficiently and for less money. One of the biggest tells though is the floor. If you are walking through the first floor and the floors near the basement or the exterior walls feel noticeably cold, that's often a sign that the heat is escaping below you. That is why I always tell buyers, don't just look at the house, feel it. And next I want to talk about basements and moisture, because winter doesn't just steal heat, it brings water with it. One thing I always tell buyers is that winter isn't just snow. It's freeze, thaw, and refreeze. And every time that cycle happens, water is looking for a weak spot. That's why basements matter so much in the Northeast. And majority of the houses in the Northeast have a basement. Whatever happens down there affects the entire house. When I walk into a basement, the first thing I notice isn't what I see, it's what I smell. If there is a musty smell, even a faint one, it usually means moisture has been here before. And winter melt is often what brings it out. I'll also look at the foundation color, the foundation wall. Sometimes you'll see a white chalky powder on the surface. That's called efflorescence. It's basically mineral residue left behind when water has moved through the concrete. It doesn't always mean there's an active leak, but it does tell you that water has found a path at some point. A lot of buyers get nervous when they see a sump pump, since we're talking about water in the basement. But honestly, a sump pump isn't a red flag. Most of the time, it's a sign that the house was designed or upgraded to handle water instead of pretending it doesn't exist. Water issues don't exist. The bigger concern is when there is no plan at all. I also think about what's happening outside the house. When snow melts, where does that water go? Does the ground slope away from the foundation or toward it? You'd be surprised how many basement issues come down to grading and drainage, not the structure itself. Important question to ask the sellers: has there ever been water here during snowmelt or heavy rain? How that question gets answered usually tells you a lot. Here's why this matters more than people think. A damp basement makes the whole house feel colder. Cold air sinks, moisture holds cold. So even if the upstairs looks beautiful, you'll spend all winter trying to heat a house that never quite feels comfortable. Okay, so remember earlier when I said I'll tell you how to survive winter without a mudroom? Here it is. If a house doesn't have a mudroom, you create a winter landing zone. You know, some houses, you open the door and you're in the living room. If there is no entryway, if there is no garage, you can prepare by adding a simple setup. Put a waterproof runner in front of the door. Put a boot tray, put wall hooks, small bench or cabinet. It's not glamorous, but it keeps winter contained. If you choose a home with the right entry, parking plan, heating, insulation, and water protection, winter becomes manageable, even enjoyable. If you're thinking about buying in the Northeast, especially in Massachusetts, reach out to me. My name is Dune. I focus on what actually it's like to live in Massachusetts and in the Northeast. Watch my video about winter temperatures right here. And if you're thinking you would love to move to Massachusetts, reach out to me. I'm always happy to help you. Download my relocation guide and school guide.